The Aranthian Empire was known across the stars for its strength and elegance. Its cities floated among the clouds of crystal blue planets, and its fleets filled the skies like shining birds of war. Among them, Princess Lysera stood as a symbol of grace and pride. Her people saw her as the future ruler, the one who would guide them through peace and conflict. Yet even for her, duty was heavy. Lysera was about to meet her chosen warrior, a champion from beyond her own world. Tradition demanded it. Every heir to the throne must bond with a protector, someone strong enough to guard them and wise enough to share their struggles. But when Lysera heard whispers that the chosen warrior was a human, her heart filled with disbelief. "Humans," she said softly as her attendants prepared her for the ceremony. "Why would the council bring someone from that young species? They are small in number and short-lived. They have no ancient wisdom. What could one possibly give to the Aranthian throne?" Her chief attendant bowed her head. "Princess, the council says he has proved himself in battle. They say he has courage unmatched. Perhaps they see something beyond strength." Lysera lifted her chin, her long silver hair catching the light. "We shall see." The Grand Hall of Stars was filled with nobles, commanders, and advisors. Tall pillars of shining crystal reached upward, glowing with soft light. The atmosphere was heavy with expectation. At the far end of the hall, Lysera stood in her ceremonial robes, a flowing gown of deep blue lined with threads of silver. She kept her expression calm, but her golden eyes searched the entryway with curiosity. The doors opened, and the human warrior stepped inside. Commander Adrian Kane was not as tall as the Aranthian generals, nor did he carry the smooth elegance of the alien warriors. But he walked with confidence, his shoulders straight, his eyes steady. His uniform was simple compared to the jeweled armor around him, yet it carried the marks of many battles. Scars on his armor told more stories than words could. The nobles whispered among themselves. Some sneered at the humans' plain appearance. Others laughed softly, hiding their doubts behind polished masks. But Adrian did not flinch. He walked down the long hall, every step echoing against the crystal floor, until he stood before Princess Lysera. He bowed respectfully. "Princess Lysera of Aranthia, I am Commander Adrian Kane of Earth. I stand ready." Lysera studied him, in silence. His voice was steady, not boastful. His eyes did not wander in awe at the hall's beauty. Instead, he looked directly at her, as though he saw her. Not the throne, not the power, but the person. "You are human," she said softly, so only he could hear. "Yes," Adrian replied without hesitation. "And you believe you can guard me? Stand beside me?" "I don't believe," Adrian answered. "I know." Something in his tone made her pause. It was not arrogance. It was certainty born of experience. The ceremony began. The council requested a demonstration of the warriors' skills. A training arena appeared in the center of the hall, formed by shifting crystals that bent to the will of the elders. "Show us, human," one of the generals said, his voice filled with doubt. "Show us why the council chose you." Adrian stepped forward. 3 Aranthian warriors, tall and armored, moved into the arena. They were chosen to test him, to measure his strength against their own. Lysera watched closely, her heart curious despite her doubts. The match began. The first warrior struck with blinding speed, his blade glowing with energy. Adrian did not try to overpower him. Instead, he shifted his stance, letting the strike slide past before countering with quick precision. The warrior stumbled, surprised at the human's timing. The second warrior came next, attacking from above. Adrian rolled, using the weight of his body to his advantage, forcing the alien's weapon into the ground. He moved with a rhythm that was not graceful but effective, like a soldier who had fought too many real battles to waste a single motion. The third warrior tried to corner him, thinking the human would tire, but Adrian smiled faintly, as if he had seen such tactics many times before. He used the arena itself, jumping from a crystal platform, sliding under a strike, turning the alien's own strength against him. In minutes, the 3 warriors stood disarmed, their weapons on the ground, while Adrian remained steady, breathing calmly. The hall grew silent. The nobles no longer whispered with laughter. They whispered with surprise. Lysera's eyes widened slightly. She had expected him to be slow, clumsy, or perhaps simply lucky. But instead, he had shown skill, intelligence, and above all, patience. The head general stepped forward. This human so fights with strategy, not just force. Adrian bowed his head. Battles are not won by strength alone. They are won by knowing when to act and when to wait. Lysera felt her heart stir at his words. She told herself it was respect, nothing more. Yet there was something familiar about the way he spoke, the way he carried himself as if they had shared a story before. After the trial, the council accepted Adrian as her protector. The nobles, though reluctant, could not deny what they had seen. Later that evening, Lysera walked through the gardens of crystal trees, the stars shining brightly above. To her surprise, Adrian was there, standing quietly and looking at the alien sky. "You should be celebrating," she said, approaching him. "I'm not here for celebration," he replied. "I'm here because I was chosen. I don't take that lightly." She tilted her head. "You are very strange for a human." He smiled faintly. "I've been told that before." Silence stretched between them, but it was not uncomfortable. Lysera found herself studying him again. There was a strength in him that went beyond muscles or weapons. It was a strength of spirit, something unshakable. Finally, she asked, "Tell me, Adrian Kane, why do you fight? What drives you?" He turned, his gaze toward her, and for the briefest moment, Lysera felt a strange pull in her heart, as though she had asked this question once before in another time. "I fight," Adrian said softly, "because I made a promise long ago. A promise I intend to keep no matter what." Lysera blinked. The words echoed inside her mind, stirring something hidden deep within, a memory she could not grasp, a shadow of another life. She quickly looked away, hiding her confusion. "Perhaps you are not as unworthy as I thought," Adrian chuckled lightly. High praise from a princess. She allowed herself a small smile, though she turned before he could see it. That night, Lysera could not sleep. The image of the human warrior stayed in her mind, the certainty in his eyes, the steadiness in his voice, and the strange warmth in her heart when he spoke of promises. Who was this man really? Why did she feel as though their paths had crossed long before today? As the stars moved silently across the sky, Princess Lysera whispered to herself, "Why do you feel so familiar, human?" And far away, in his own chamber, Adrian Kane sat, quietly, looking at a small worn token he carried in his pocket, a symbol of something lost, yet never forgotten. He closed his hand around it and whispered, "One step closer." The story of their true bond had only just begun. The morning sun rose over the floating city of Aranthia, painting the crystal spires with colors of gold and silver. Princess Lysera moved through the royal gardens, but her mind was restless. The image of Commander Adrian Kane, the human warrior, still lingered in her thoughts. She had watched him in the arena, had seen the way he moved, how he thought, how he carried himself. And yet there was something strange, something that tugged at the edges of her memory. Lysera had learned about humans from the history archives of her empire. They were a young species barely touching the stars, fragile and small compared to the great alien civilizations. Most Aranthians dismissed them as inconsequential, but Adrian, he was different. Later that day, the palace council gathered in a hall lined with glowing crystals. Lysera entered quietly, listening as her advisors debated the warrior's role. "He is a human," one counselor said, frowning. "How can a species so new, so fragile, serve as a protector of the Aranthian princess?" Lysera spoke before anyone could respond. "He has proven himself already. I have seen his skill with my own eyes. Perhaps his strength is not measured by size or age, but by determination." A murmur went through the hall. The council respected her words, but doubt lingered like a shadow. Then the High Elder, an ancient being with eyes that seemed to see through time, spoke. "Princess Lysera, There is something you must know. The truth of your past has been hidden for centuries. Lysera's heart skipped. Hidden? She had always believed she remembered her life clearly. What truth? She asked, her voice steady but cautious. The elder's gaze softened. Before you became the princess who now rules this empire, there was another life. Long ago, you were injured in the Great Cosmic War and placed into stasis. Your memories of that time were sealed to protect you, and to protect a promise you once made. Lysera's mind swirled with confusion. Stasis? Memories sealed? A promise? The elder continued. You were married, Lysera. Not in the usual way of duty, but in a bond of love and choice. Your husband was from another world, a human warrior, a protector who once saved your life. The words hit her like a sudden gust of wind. A human, her real husband? Her mind filled with fragmented images, flashes of a battlefield, a ceremony, and a familiar hand reaching for hers. She blinked rapidly, trying to focus. I don't understand, she whispered. You will, said the elder. The human, warrior chosen to protect you now is not a stranger. He is the same warrior. Adrian Kane carries the legacy of your past bond. His presence awakens memories that were sealed. Lysera felt her chest tighten. Her heart raced as she looked toward the palace doors where Adrian now stood quietly, waiting. Could it be possible? Could the warrior she had just met be the same man from a life she barely remembered? That evening, Lysera requested to speak with Adrian alone. In a quiet courtyard, illuminated by the soft glow of crystal lamps, she confronted him. Adrian Kane, she said, her voice barely above a whisper. I have been told things today. Strange things. About my past. And you. Adrian turned, his face calm but his eyes alert. I am here to listen, princess. Whatever the truth, we will face it together. Lysera hesitated, searching for the right words. They say we were married before, that I promised myself to you. Her voice broke slightly, caught between disbelief and a deep buried emotion. Adrian's hand went to his chest, over a small token he always carried, a simple band of metal engraved with symbols of another world. I remember, he said softly. I never forgot. I have searched for you across worlds and years. I did not know if I would find you again. But now, you are here. Lysera's golden eyes widened. She wanted to ask questions, to deny it, to convince herself that this was impossible. Yet when she looked into his eyes, she felt a wave of familiarity that could not be explained. You are saying that I married you? She asked, her voice trembling slightly. Yes, Adrian said gently. You made a choice once, in a time before stasis. You chose me, not because of politics, not because of duty, but because you saw something, in me, something that mattered. Lysera sat on the edge of a fountain, letting the soft water reflect the stars above. She tried to piece together the fragments of memory that rose in her mind. She saw herself on a battlefield, injured and afraid. She saw a human hand lifting her, protecting her from harm. She saw a ceremony, small and private, where a vow was spoken in two languages, human and Aranthian. The images were hazy, like dreams half remembered, yet the emotion behind them was clear. She had loved him once. She had trusted him once. And, somehow, she still did. Over the next few days, Lysera tried to observe Adrian in private, watching how he interacted with the palace, the council, and her people. He was not only brave but thoughtful. He noticed small details others overlooked, solved problems in ways that were clever and unexpected, and treated her not as a ruler to be feared, but as a person to be respected. The council, however, remained cautious. Some whispered among themselves that the princess was becoming too attached, that humans could not be trusted, that Adrian's presence might cause unrest among other alien allies. Lysera ignored them. She could not deny the connection she felt. nor could she deny the truth that was slowly returning to her mind. Every time she glanced at Adrian, a spark of memory, small but persistent, reminded her of the bond they once shared. One evening, she spoke to him quietly in the library, surrounded by floating crystals that contained the records of history. "Adrian," she said, "I remember fragments. I see flashes of us, of a life I thought was gone. I don't know how much is real, but I feel it in my heart. You feel familiar, more than anyone I have ever met." Adrian knelt before her, as if grounding himself to her presence. "It is real, Princess. Every promise I made, every vow I spoke, they are still true. And now fate has brought us together again." Lysera felt tears prick her eyes, though she did not let them fall. "I thought humans were weak, that they could not stand beside us in battle or protect an empire. And yet, you have shown me strength that surpasses any alien warrior I have known. How is it that a human can be so extraordinary?" Adrian smiled softly. "Strength is not in size or lifespan, Princess. It is in courage, in love, in the will to do what is right. Humans may be young in the universe, but that does not make them weak. I have learned that over a lifetime of battles, and I have learned it again, being with you." Lysera looked down, trying to steady her thoughts. Every word he spoke, every glance stirred a memory deep within her. It was terrifying and exhilarating at the same time. She had always been the princess in command, the one with the world at her feet, yet now she felt small. Small in the presence of someone who held a piece of her own past. Someone who understood her in a way that no one else could. The next day, the palace archives revealed more details about her past life. Holographic images displayed her stasis chamber, the battle that had ended her previous life, and Adrian's search across human and alien worlds to find her. Lysera watched silently, absorbing the weight of centuries and the devotion of a human who had never stopped searching. "It is true," she whispered to herself. "He is my husband, my protector, my human." Later, she found Adrian in the training arena, observing the alien warriors. She approached him, her voice soft but firm. "Adrian, I believe the Council will test us soon. Perhaps even the Empire. They will want to see if we are worthy as partners." Adrian nodded. "Then we will face it together. I fought for you once, and I will fight for you again. Whatever challenges come, I will not leave your side." Lysera felt a warmth in her chest she had not felt in decades. A bond that had been broken by time and stasis was slowly mending. She realized something profound. Humans, young as they were in the galaxy, possessed qualities that could match or even surpass the greatest alien civilizations. Courage, loyalty, love. These were not measured by lifespan or size. They were measured in the heart. As the sun set over the crystal towers, casting long shadows across the palace, Lysera and Adrian stood side by side. They did not speak, but in that silence a promise was renewed. A promise that the past and the present had converged. A promise that no force in the universe could sever. And far above the stars, beyond the reach of even the Aranthian Empire, a shadow began to move. A threat from an ancient enemy, waiting for the right moment to strike. But Lysera and Adrian, reunited by fate and strengthened by rediscovered love, would face whatever came next together. The hidden past had returned, and with it, the future of not just the princess and her human warrior, but of two worlds, began to take shape. The peace of the Aranthian Empire was fragile. The skies above their floating cities glimmered like crystal, and the rivers of light that ran through the spires reflected the brilliance of a civilization that had grown for thousands of years. Yet beneath the beauty, a storm was coming. Princess Lysera and Commander Adrian Kane had spent weeks together, training, observing the council, and understanding each other. The bond between them, fragile at first, had grown strong. Lysera's memories of their past life returned in flashes, and Adrian's calm strength and clever thinking impressed her more each day. But an ancient threat, long thought defeated, was stirring again. Far beyond the borders of Aranthia, in the dark reaches of space, the Ver Dominion plotted. The Ver were a ruthless species, feared across countless systems. Centuries ago, they had destroyed entire human colonies, wiping out entire populations. But when they thought humanity destroyed, they had retreated, only to wait for a chance to strike again. Now they had discovered Lysera's presence and the return of her human protector. They saw an opportunity not only to destroy the princess, but to erase all humans from the stars once and for all. The Dominion's leader, Supreme, Commander Veyroth, spoke to his war council aboard his massive flagship. His voice was cold, metallic, and carried authority. The Princess of Aranthia has returned to the stars. Her protector, a human, is the key. They think he is weak. They will soon learn otherwise. The Ver Dominion fleets began to mobilize. Ships glimmered in dark space, silent and deadly, carrying weapons capable of crushing entire cities. Back in Aranthia, Lysera sensed something was wrong before the council had any warning. While walking through the gardens at night, she saw unusual energy readings in the far sectors of their galaxy. Her golden eyes, sharp and perceptive, caught what the sensors missed. She summoned Adrian to the observation tower. The human stood beside her, peering at the stars. He did not speak at first, simply observing the patterns and the faint signals moving like ripples in space. "Something approaches," Lysera said. "I can feel it." Adrian nodded slowly. "It is not a normal fleet. I have seen fleets like this before. The movement is precise and trained for war, and they are coming here." Lysera turned to him, her heart beating faster. "Can they reach us before the council has time to prepare?" "They might," Adrian replied, his voice steady. "But that does not mean we are powerless. If they come, we will meet them as we must, together." Lysera felt a shiver of fear, but also a surge of hope. If Adrian had survived countless battles, and if he had once protected her before, perhaps they could face this threat together. The council gathered in an emergency meeting. Holograms of the Ver fleet appeared above the crystal tables, showing ships moving in formation, approaching Aranthia. Panic rippled through some of the older nobles, who had never faced an enemy so powerful. "Princess," the head general said, "we cannot underestimate them. Their weapons can destroy a city in minutes. We must evacuate civilians, prepare the fleet, and perhaps your human protector should step aside. He is still just a human." Lysera's hands clenched at her sides. She had heard this before, the whispers of doubt against Adrian. She turned toward the council, her voice sharp. "No," she declared. "Adrian has proven himself. He is not just a human. He is my protector, my husband, and a warrior in his own right. If the Ver Dominion thinks he will step aside, they will be wrong." Some counselors bristled at her words, but the High Elder spoke, his calm voice commanding silence. "Princess Lysera is correct. Strength is not measured by species alone. A warrior's spirit and loyalty can surpass all else. We will support her protector." Preparations for the battle began immediately. Adrian worked alongside the Aranthian fleet commanders, devising strategies that combined human ingenuity with alien technology. "Your fleet is strong," he told the general in charge of the main battleships, "but predictability will destroy you. The Ver Dominion is experienced, but they expect standard tactics. We will use the environment, the asteroid belts, and the shadows of the nebulae to our advantage. We will make them fight on our terms." The general raised an eyebrow. "You think your ideas, human, can defeat an entire Dominion fleet?" "I don't think," Adrian said simply. "I know. We just have to act with courage and precision. Humans survive by adapting. That is our strength." Lysera watched silently, feeling both pride and admiration. Even as the council debated tactics, Adrian had a plan that inspired confidence, not only in her but in many of the younger warriors who had previously doubted him. Days passed, and the Ver fleet approached faster than anyone anticipated. Scouts reported small ships moving stealthily, testing Aranthia's defenses. Lysera's visions from her past life became more vivid. reminding her of battles she had fought with Adrian long ago. She felt fear, but also determination. One evening, Adrian and Lysera trained together in the palace arena. They sparred lightly, but it was more than training. It was preparation for the bond they would need in the coming war. "Remember," Adrian said, blocking her strike, "we must act as one. In battle, if we hesitate or doubt, even a small mistake can cost lives. Trust me, as I trust you." Lysera nodded, gripping her practice blade with renewed strength. "I do trust you," she said softly. "Not just because of your skill, but because I know you. Somehow, I have always known you." Adrian's eyes softened. "And I have always remembered you. Even when I could not see you, even when we were apart, my mission never changed. I would find you again." The words settled between them like a warm shield against the cold fear of the unknown. The first attack came at dawn. The Ver fleet emerged from a nebula, their dark ships cutting through the light like blades. Alarm sirens echoed through the Aranthian cities, and the fleet sprang into action. Adrian coordinated with the Aranthian commanders, giving orders that were precise and daring. He directed small strike teams to disable key enemy vessels, using stealth and speed rather than sheer firepower. His tactics confused the Ver Dominion, who had expected a straightforward battle against a predictable alien fleet. Lysera watched from the observation deck, her heart racing. She saw Adrian move from station to station, guiding fighters, offering advice and inspiring courage. The humans and Aranthians fought side by side, their coordination a testament to his leadership. Amid the chaos, a more personal threat emerged. Scouts reported that a squad of Ver warriors had targeted Lysera's location, aiming to capture her and bring her to the Dominion flagship. Panic rose among the council. Adrian turned to Lysera, his face firm. "They will try to take you. We cannot let that happen. You come with me." Lysera shook her head. "I am the princess. My people need me here." "You are also my responsibility," Adrian said firmly. "I cannot let them take you. Not now, not ever." Without another word, he activated a personal teleport device and vanished from the observation deck. Lysera followed instinctively, using her own portal. Moments later, they were behind enemy lines, moving with quiet precision through the shadows of the city. The battle was fierce. Adrian's strategies gave them small victories, but the Dominion's forces were relentless. Lysera fought beside him, using her agility and skills as a princess warrior. Every attack she made, every block, reminded her of the bond they had, shared in another life, a bond that now seemed stronger than ever. At one point, Adrian was surrounded, facing 3 Ver warriors at once. Lysera rushed to his side, and together they fought, covering each other with perfect timing. Their movements were synchronized, instinctive, almost as if they had done this before. After a long, exhausting battle, they managed to push the Dominion forces back. Adrian's tactics, combined with the courage of the Aranthian fleet, forced the enemy to retreat into the darkness of space. As the sun set over the crystal towers, Lysera and Adrian stood side by side, surveying the city. Though the battle was won, the threat remained. The Ver Dominion had not been defeated. They were still out there, watching, waiting for another chance. Lysera turned to Adrian, her golden eyes filled with emotion. "You were right," she said softly. "Humans, they are stronger than I thought. Not because of their power, but because of their courage. Because of you." Adrian smiled faintly, his hand brushing hers. "We will face them together, Princess. In this life or any life, that promise never changes." And as the stars shone brightly over Aranthia, Lysera knew that the return of the human warrior had not only rekindled memories of the past, but had also changed the future, forever. The days following the first Ver attack were tense. The Aranthian Empire worked tirelessly to repair damage, strengthen defenses, and prepare for the enemy's inevitable return. But the shadow of the Dominion loomed larger than ever, and Princess, Lysera could feel the weight of responsibility pressing on her. Adrian Kane had proven himself in the first battle. He had saved lives, guided the fleet, and inspired courage in the hearts of soldiers who had once doubted him. Yet despite these victories, whispers among the council grew louder. Some wondered if a human could truly protect the princess in the trials yet to come. Lysera ignored them. She had already made her choice. Adrian had been her protector once, and now he was again. But soon, she would face a test that would challenge not only her trust, but her heart. The Vare Dominion struck, again this time with a fleet far larger than the first. They came swiftly, moving through the darkness of space like predators hunting their prey. This attack was not merely tactical, it was personal. Their spies had reported the presence of the human warrior, and the Dominion sought to capture Lysera, hoping to break the bond between her and Adrian. The Aranthian fleet scrambled into formation. Ships of all sizes aligned with precision, energy weapons glowing as shields powered up. Yet even with their preparation, fear rippled through the ranks. Many had never faced an enemy as ruthless or as patient as the Vare. Adrian stood on the command deck of the lead Aranthian cruiser. He studied the enemy formation carefully, analyzing their patterns, predicting their moves. Beside him, Lysera watched silently, her heart steady but her mind alert. She had fought alongside him before, in another life, and the instinct to trust him flowed naturally. "They will try to take you," Adrian said softly, his eyes never leaving the holographic display of the approaching fleet. "You must be ready for anything." Lysera nodded. "And you will not leave me?" "Never," he replied firmly. The first wave of Vare fighters descended upon the Aranthian cruisers. Explosions lit the dark void of space as ships collided, shields flared, and laser fire tore through the enemy ranks. Adrian directed Aranthian strike teams with precision, guiding them to weak points in the enemy formation. Lysera, from the observation deck, watched him move from station to station, issuing orders with calm authority. It was not merely his skill that impressed her. It was his courage. Even when the situation seemed impossible, Adrian remained composed, ready to act, ready to sacrifice if necessary. Then the Dominion's flagship appeared on the horizon, a massive dark vessel bristling with weapons. Adrian's gaze hardened. "This is it. They are coming for the princess. I will lead a team to intercept them." Lysera's stomach tightened. "I go with you." "You will stay here," Adrian said firmly. "Your people need you. The fleet needs you. I cannot risk losing you." She shook her head. "I am not just a symbol. I am a warrior too. If you face them alone, I will face them with you." Adrian studied her for a moment, then nodded. "Very well, but we must be careful. This is no ordinary battle. Their goal is to test us, to break our bond." They boarded a small assault ship, sleek and fast, capable of weaving through enemy defenses. As they approached the Dominion flagship, alarms blared, and enemy fighters swarmed around them. Adrian maneuvered expertly, evading attacks while coordinating with the Aranthian fleet. Lysera fired her weapons with skill, covering Adrian as he prepared for the final strike. Suddenly, a group of elite Vare warriors boarded their ship using teleportation pods. The doors burst open, and shadowy figures stepped onto the deck. They were faster, stronger, and more skilled than any soldiers Lysera had ever faced. Adrian turned to her. "Stay close. Watch my movements, trust me." Lysera nodded, gripping her weapon tightly. Together they moved as one, covering each other, striking with precision. The battle was brutal, testing their coordination, their reflexes, and their trust. Every move required instinct and understanding, two warriors who had once shared a bond beyond words. Amid the fight, one Vare warrior grabbed Lysera, lifting her off the deck with inhuman strength. Adrian lunged forward, but the enemy knocked him back. Lysera struggled, fear rising, but then something deep inside her stirred. A memory, a flash from another life. She remembered the first time Adrian had saved her, the vow they had shared, the trust they had built. With a sudden burst of strength, she broke free, using the environment to her advantage. Sliding down a railing, she struck the warrior with a precise blow, sending him staggering back. Adrian recovered at the same moment, and together, they fought side by side, unstoppable. The Vare realized too late that their plan to isolate Lysera had failed. The bond between the human and the princess was unbreakable, forged in both past and present. Their coordination was flawless, their timing perfect. After a fierce struggle, they reached the bridge of the Dominion flagship. Adrian moved quickly, using the ship's own systems against the enemy. Lysera stood beside him, watching as he disabled key weapons, rerouted power, and created openings for the Aranthian fleet to strike. It was a trial not of strength alone, but of loyalty, strategy, and heart. The Dominion had hoped to exploit doubt, to make Lysera question Adrian, to make Adrian question himself. But neither faltered. Lysera realized then the depth of their connection. This human, once dismissed by her people as fragile, had proven himself in mind, body, and spirit. He was not only her protector, but her partner, her equal, her husband across time and worlds. The final moment came when Supreme Commander Veyrath appeared, confronting them personally. The shadowy figure of the Vare leader towered over them, his presence commanding fear. "You dare defy the Dominion, human?" Veyrath demanded. "And you, princess, you trust a weak species? You are both fools." Adrian stepped forward, unwavering. Strength is not measured by species. It is measured by courage, loyalty, and the willingness to stand for what is right. You underestimate us, Veyrath, and that will be your mistake. Lysera, beside him, felt the truth in his words. She raised her weapon, her resolve as firm as Adrian's. Together they faced the Vare leader side by side, united by love, loyalty, and determination. With a final coordinated strike, Adrian disabled the Dominion's central control system, while Lysera used her agility and skill to subdue Veyrath's elite guards. The flagship fell into chaos, and the Aranthian fleet delivered the final blow, forcing the Dominion to retreat. When the battle ended, Lysera and Adrian returned to the palace, exhausted but victorious. The council met them with awe and respect. Even the most skeptical nobles could no longer deny the strength and brilliance of the human warrior. Lysera turned to Adrian, her golden eyes filled with emotion. "You have proven yourself not just as a warrior, but as everything I remembered. I see now that the bond we share is stronger than time, stronger than any enemy." Adrian smiled, brushing a strand of her silver hair from her face. "And I will continue to prove it, princess. As long as I live, you will never face the universe alone." The High Elder stepped forward, his gaze soft but firm. "Let this day be remembered. Not for the Dominion's defeat alone, but for the courage, loyalty, and unity displayed by our princess and the human warrior. Humanity has shown what Aranthia has long believed. Strength is in the heart, not merely in history or bloodline." Lysera felt a quiet pride. Humans, young as they were in the galaxy, had shown that they could stand beside the greatest alien civilizations, not by force alone, but by courage, intelligence, and love. As the stars gleamed above the floating city, she took Adrian's hand, feeling the warmth of his presence. Their past had returned to them, and together they were ready to face whatever trials the universe would bring next. The battle with the Vare Dominion had ended, but the air in Aranthia was still heavy with tension. Though the enemy had retreated, their shadow lingered in every corner of the floating city. Citizens walked carefully, soldiers patrolled the skies, and the council debated how to strengthen the empire against future attacks. Princess Lysera stood on the observation balcony of her palace, the wind lifting her silver hair. Beside her, Adrian Kane watched the horizon, his human eyes reflecting the fading light of the stars. They had faced countless dangers together, yet this felt different. Something had shifted, not just in the Empire, but in the bond between them. "You've changed everything," Lysera said quietly, her voice almost lost in the breeze. Adrian turned to her, a soft smile touching his lips. "I only did what I promised," he said. I promise to protect you. That promise has not changed, Princess, no matter how many years or battles separate us. Lysera's golden eyes softened. She remembered the past life she had glimpsed, the vows, the battles, the moments of courage and tenderness. And she realized that this human, the one who had been doubted by her people, was the same man she had once loved. Her heart trembled with the recognition. The council convened soon after, summoned by Lysera herself. The main hall, filled with floating crystals and soft glowing lights, was unusually quiet. The nobles and commanders waited, uncertain. Even after the battle, many still questioned the bond between princess and human. Lysera stepped forward. Her voice, clear and strong, echoed through the hall. Today we celebrate victory over the Vare Dominion, but we must also recognize truth. I have learned something that changes everything. The human warrior who stood by my side is not merely a protector, he is my husband. Gasps filled the room. Some nobles' faces froze in shock. Others whispered, unable to believe what they heard. Adrian remained calm, standing quietly behind her, but his eyes never left hers. They carried a history that no one in the hall could see, a lifetime of loyalty, courage, and love. Lysera continued. Long ago, before I was placed in stasis, I made a vow. I married a human warrior. That warrior saved my life, protected me, and became my partner. I had forgotten much of that past, until now. Adrian Kane is that warrior, my husband, my protector, and my equal. The council fell silent. Even the skeptics had to listen, for the words carried weight beyond argument. Some of the younger nobles stepped forward, curiosity and awe in their eyes. Princess, one said, how can this be? Humans are young in the galaxy. They have not ruled nor commanded fleets like Aranthia. Lysera smiled faintly, her eyes on Adrian. Strength is not measured by age or size. It is measured by courage, by loyalty, by the heart. Adrian has shown all these qualities, and more. In battle, in strategy, and in love, he has proven himself, beyond any doubt. Adrian stepped forward then, bowing respectfully to the council. I do not seek titles nor glory, he said. I am here because of a promise I made long ago, to protect, to serve, and to stand beside the one I love. That promise is still true. The hall remained quiet. Even the most skeptical generals found it impossible to argue against the clarity and sincerity in his words. In the following days, Lysera and Adrian worked to strengthen the bonds between Aranthians and humans. Messages were sent across systems, inviting humanity to join as allies, to share knowledge, and to stand together against the Dominion. Many aliens were skeptical at first. Humans were young, fragile, and inexperienced. But stories of Adrian's courage, the battles he had fought alongside Lysera, and the loyalty he had shown began to change opinions. Lysera often walked with him through the palace gardens, talking, quietly, their hands brushing together. She could see how humans, though few in number, carried a resilience that even the oldest civilizations sometimes lacked. Their creativity, courage, and determination made them formidable allies. Do you ever wonder, Lysera asked one evening, what our lives would have been if we had never been separated? Adrian looked at her, a small smile forming. I have thought of it every day. But perhaps this, finding each other again after everything, is even better. We have proven that nothing can break our bond, not time, not distance, not enemies. Lysera nodded. She felt the truth of his words deep in her heart. Months passed, and peace slowly returned to Aranthia. The Vare Dominion had not disappeared, but their forces were diminished and they no longer dared to attack openly. The Empire had grown stronger, united by the courage of its princess and the human who had proven himself indispensable. The Council officially recognized humanity as an ally, granting them rights to trade, collaborate, and defend the Empire. Many Aranthians were surprised by how quickly they came to respect the humans, seeing the value of courage and ingenuity over size or history. Lysera and Adrian's bond, once hidden by stasis and time, became a symbol to all. Their story was told in schools, on ships, and in the hearts of citizens. Humans, young as they were, had shown that love, loyalty, and bravery could change the course of history. One day, Lysera invited Adrian to the palace rooftop, where the stars shone like diamonds scattered across velvet. The city below glimmered in silver and gold, a testament to centuries of wisdom and labor. "I want everyone to see what we have," Lysera said softly. "Not just our victory, but our bond. Not just our love, but the truth of what humans can do." Adrian took her hand, holding it gently. "Then let us show them together. Not for pride, not for glory, but because it is the truth." Lysera smiled, her heart full. "I have waited a long time to say this," she said, stepping closer. "Adrian Kane, my husband, my protector, I am yours, in this life and any life that comes after." Adrian's eyes glimmered, reflecting the stars. "And I am yours. Always." They embraced, their silhouettes framed by the night sky, a symbol of love, unity, and the extraordinary strength of humanity. In the days that followed, the Empire held a ceremony unlike any before. Aliens and humans stood together celebrating the union of Lysera and Adrian. There were no doubts, no fears, only recognition of courage, loyalty, and the power of a bond that had withstood centuries. Lysera spoke to the gathered crowd, her voice carrying across the city. "We have learned that strength comes in many forms. It is not in age, size, or history alone. It is in courage, in loyalty, and in the choices we make. Today we honor a human who has proven that these qualities are not bound by species, but by heart." Adrian stood beside her, quiet but strong. He did not need words, the people could see it in his presence. Humans might be young, but their spirit was unbreakable. Their ingenuity, courage, and loyalty could stand among the stars. Even the Ver Dominion, observing from afar, began to reconsider their underestimation of humans. The princess and her human warrior had sent a message across the galaxy: "Underestimate humans at your own risk." As the ceremony ended, Lysera and Adrian looked at each other. The universe was vast, full of challenges and mysteries, but they longer faced it apart. They had reclaimed their past, proven themselves in the present, and prepared for whatever future awaited. "I never imagined this," Lysera said softly, "that a human, someone my people dismissed, would become my partner, my equal, my husband." Adrian smiled, brushing a strand of her silver hair from her face. "Sometimes, the most extraordinary things come from where you least expect. Humans may be young, but our hearts, our courage, and our loyalty, they are limitless, just as our love is." Lysera nodded, leaning against him, her heart full of hope. "Then let us face the future together. No matter what comes, we are stronger, because we have each other." The stars above twinkled brightly, as if celebrating the union of two souls in two worlds. The bond between princess and human had not only survived the trials of war, but had grown stronger, a beacon of hope for all who believed in courage, loyalty, and the extraordinary strength of humanity. And in that moment, Lysera and Adrian knew. Their story was not just about love. It was about proving to the galaxy that humans, no matter how small or young in the universe, could rise to greatness, protect those they loved, and change the fate of worlds.